Welcome to the Academy of the SSG96 Mark I and the SSG96 Mark II. When you watch the next videos, you will notice that most of the videos are done with the Mark I. That is because the Mark II is 90% the same. There are key differences, but the procedures and everything that we do with the Mark I is pretty much the same, so you will be able to use it interchangeably. This video is meant to show you all the important differences so that down the line, when you watch maybe a maintenance, maybe something else, you know what the differences are, and maybe you are just generally curious which one to get. So this video is for you. Let's compare everything that is different about the Mark I versus the Mark II. Let's start with the first difference, and that is the foldable stock. The SSG96 Mark I doesn't have a foldable stock, only a fixed one. It is not important for the game, it will be extended anyway, you will not fold it and run around, but for transport this is a neat feature, and it also makes it easier to remove the cylinder. So if you are watching the next videos, just note that to remove the cylinder it is possible to fold it, you don't have to remove the cheek rest anymore with the Mark II. Now the next important difference is the hop-up chamber itself. We no longer use Allen key from the top on the Mark I, just like here I'm showing. We have a new completely redesigned hop-up unit that you can actually adjust from the top. Here is a wheel, and if you want to close it, you can close it with this cover right there. So this is one of the key differences between the Mark I and the Mark II. However, the procedures in the Academy videos are pretty much the same. Of course, when it comes to disassembly and assembly, I'm gonna make a specific video about the Mark II. Difference number 3, with the Mark II, you are already getting the fluted cylinder, whereas in the Mark I, you are getting the standard cylinder. These are compatible, there is no difference whatsoever. Here you are already getting the aftermarket part. Now, talking about the cylinder, what is different and is part of the cylinder is the nozzle. The nozzle on the Mark II is slightly longer than on the Mark I, so those are not interchangeable. We did this to adjust for the new redesigned hop-up unit. Moving on to the inner barrel, with the SSG96 Mark I, we are using 6.01 8mm outer diameter barrel, and with the Mark II, we are using 603 10mm outer diameter barrel. So this one is thicker and much more stable, more solid, and also it has a different cut for the hop-up bucking, so you cannot use them interchangeably. Now, speaking about barrels, the outer barrels are obviously not compatible because here we have the TDC hole from the top for the Allen key, and here we have a completely new window. Also, the Mark I comes with the fluted barrel. You can have the fluted barrel. The Mark II is only straight or smooth. Also, what is important to mention is that when you want to use the combination of a short outer barrel, you will need this adapter. And this adapter is compatible with both. However, this barrel is much thicker. It doesn't really matter if you want to shorten the inner barrel and the outer barrel, but some people like to run the long inner barrel and have it stick out into the suppressor. In this case, as you can see, we cannot put it through the adapter because the barrel is 10mm, not 8mm. This means that in this case, it is not possible by default. You could drill the adapter, however, this requires quite some precision and a drill press. We don't recommend trying this because it is not easy and the wall thickness on the adapter does not leave much room for error. Moving on to the magazine is exactly the same for the Mark I and Mark II. Another difference is the color. The Mark I only comes in black. The Mark II, you can also get it in green and of course in black as well. Now, one difference here with the stock in the back is that here we don't have a monopod, but with the Mark II, you are able to put a monopod that we already have installed right here. So it is ready for this monopod. It doesn't come in the box, but if you want to get it, you can with the Mark II, with the Mark I. the mounting option is just not there. Another difference with the Mark II is that the thumb screws that you can get aftermarket for the Mark I as well already do come from the box. So you don't need an Allen key to adjust the cheek rest. You can just loosen it with your fingers and just put it back and it's ready to go. You don't adjust this too often, but it is one difference that I need to mention. Now finally, the last difference is on the inside of the receiver, and that is a second glide ring that centers the cylinder when you are pulling the bolt forward and backwards. And that's it. Those are all the differences between the Mark I and Mark II. Now, if you are watching the other videos in the Academy, just keep them in mind, but also know that pretty much everything is exactly the same as for the Mark I and Mark II. If there is a major difference in procedure, I will make a second video for the Mark II specifically.